Right then, everybody, welcome along. We're a couple of minutes away from getting started with the show proper, but we don't just launch into our Hangouts. As you know, we give you a couple of minutes to kind of get yourself settled, especially if you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel. You should have had a notification saying that we're going live, but we'll go on with the actual show in about a minute or so's time. So just give everyone a chance to get themselves nicely settled. Don't forget as well that the Q&A is open as we speak. So please do head over to that page. Let us know what you're doing this evening, how you're celebrating your Sunday. Hopefully you're having a slightly more relaxed day than you were yesterday, because no doubt if you were taking part in the badge sale, things did get a little bit curious and stressful, but we'll dive into all of that as we go into the show proper. We don't have a special guest this week, unfortunately, because the special guest we did have lined up dropped out at the very last minute. Got a messenger from them at around 5:30 after being very cagey about coming on. I was hoping that it was going to be nailed down. Hopefully we'll try and get that person on a little bit further down the line, but for now it's just going to be me, which means it's going to be a slightly shorter show, because the last thing you need is to listen to me talking for several hours or for an hour on end. So I don't think we'll be getting into that. But don't forget, if you are not particularly wanting to see just my face, who on earth would want to look at that for 45 minutes or for 30 minutes, whatever, please do head to mixlr.com, mixlr.com/Englishman SDCC, which is where you can listen to the show live. You can comment on there as well. I'll try my best to keep an eye on those chats on that particular page. But yeah, you can dive in on all of that. So bear with me a second. Let me see if I can get myself some kind of microphone up and running. Hopefully I won't get too much feedback on that as well, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, if you want to head to mixlr.com, indeed, if you want to head over there and just check me out, see if the sound's all working, that'd be fine. Okay, it's 1 minute past, so let's dive in. So welcome along to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Len Sultana, and this is the weekly show where we talk Comic-Cons, con culture, the wonderful people that we get to meet at these amazing events, the amazing community of people that we have that attend them, and also everything and nothing that we kind of can celebrate at these shows, the wonderful fandoms that you can experience at various conventions, not only here in the UK, but also worldwide. We've got ourselves a number of people who have jumped in on the YouTube chat room already, so please do let us know where you are, where you're watching, and also your stories from yesterday, which was, of course, the San Diego Comic Con 2019 open badge registration, the last chance saloon, the final chance for you to get hold of your badges if you were taking part in the sale. If you were somebody who skipped on 2018, perhaps you are a brand new attendee, somebody who is going for the first time. You've heard about this amazing event in San Diego on SoCal. So we'll be talking to you pretty soon, because we'll do a little bit of a breakdown of what you can expect. We're going to be doing a number of shows over the course of the next couple of months, kind of breaking down certain elements of San Diego Comic Con for the first time. So we'll be doing that, and that's coming up in the next couple of weeks and months. But certainly for this show, we may be just covering the basics of what you can expect from 2019, because it is proving to be a very big show. But what I'm also going to do is I do want to try and get you guys involved as well. So if you have a copy of Hangouts installed on your smartphone, perhaps on Android or on iOS, or indeed if you have a laptop with a webcam and a microphone, and you feel yourself up for speaking on camera, if you want to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the link right now in the chat box. So you can jump in on today's show. It's all about you. It's your roundtable show where we talk about what actually took place yesterday. We are also going to break down the timetable for yesterday, any issues that came up. in the past, when I've done my kind of reportage on the open online badge registration and indeed pre-registration, whenever I've seen issues crop up on my timeline, such as browser the spinning blue circle of death stopping to spin, or the graphic vanishing, or people being kicked out of the waiting room, I can imagine that in the back of my head I had something going like someone hasn't done something right, or maybe they haven't prepared, maybe they're not using the right browser. Who knows? It's just something a little bit more distant. At which point it happened to me yesterday, and several things happened yesterday, so we'll talk through those throughout the course of the show. But like I say, I've just posted on that. Loads of people are jumping in on the chat room. Hello there. Andrew English is watching from London. He's looking forward to MCM Birmingham next week. I know that one or two people have been reading my review of MCM London. It is a slightly different show. MCM London is very much its flagship for MCM and Repop. They pour a massive amount of time and effort and money into that particular show, or shows, because of course they do the summer edition back in May and June. But the slightly more satellite shows, such as Manchester, Birmingham, and Scotland, they are very much on the smaller scale. I went up to Scotland. There is no multiple stages. I think there's just the live stage in the middle of the floor and the main stage. That was it. I was invited up to Scotland to host the one comic panel that was on there for Donny Cates and Brian Azzarello. And after that, I found myself footloose and fancy free. So that gives you an idea of the kind of thing they do at the smaller shows. They have the one stage and they have a big panel, 45 minutes or so, with the main guests, or the guests of the weekend, and the live stage is more kind of a free-for-all, little looser, one for the fans, 20-minute chat, just to kind of have a bit of a looser chat show kind of style conversation, and almost like an advert for the main stage attraction, which will be happening down the line. We had our great chat last week with CJ from the live stage. He kind of gave us a feel of what goes on behind the scenes of that particular show. But that's basically what you get at the smaller satellite shows. So I'm not invited up to Birmingham or down to Birmingham to participate, because they are not inviting so much in the way of international or mainstream comics talent. So I'm not required. Surplus for required. Hopefully I'll be back on the payroll next year, depending on if anyone's read the review and they took issue with several things I said. Who knows? Let's see who else is in there. Sarita P is online. We've got ourselves Leanne D as well, who did have her fair share of issues as well. This was yesterday with the badge sale. It was hard work for a number of people. Karma Savage is watching from Atlanta, Georgia. We've got Jason Kremen, who's watching for California. All 14 of our group got at least 4 days. Most got preview night. We also were able to help 3 outsiders. It was a great day. Excellent. Congratulations to you, sir. My issues with that, we'll talk about in a bit. We've got ourselves Karma Savage. My cousin's friends got in 7 minutes. I still can't believe it. So awesome. They both attended Comic Con first time as my professional guests this past summer. So they tried for themselves yesterday. Excellent stuff. Betsy Woodin is watching from Alaska. Hello, Betsy. Let's have a look. Dan Berry. I actually got in for the first time in ages. Congratulations, Dan. Well done. Super Cat Chick. Hi, I'm a little late. I had to tear myself away from Red Dead Redemption 2. I can understand. I've got several gamer fans that have that to hand, and yeah, it's pretty addictive from what I've heard. I totally get that. So yeah, like I say, I've posted the link in the chat box. If you have a webcam and you want to jump in and just kind of share your story about what you got up to yesterday as part of the badge sale, don't be shy. It's just us. Come on, it's an informal chat, and I'll be gentle. I promise. Come in and see us, and we'd love to talk to you. Especially, in fact, if you are a first timer, perhaps you've spotted this event on YouTube, kind of shared around on Facebook or on Twitter, and you thought, oh, I'll just jump in and watch this. If you are a first timer if you are heading out to San Diego Comic Con for the first time, please jump in, click on the link, straighten your hair, you'll be fine. And yeah, we'd love to actually talk to you. We'll get into that in a bit. Sarita P, I used my brother's and mother's ID. Brother got in 10 minutes, and then my mother 15 minutes later. That's not too shabby at all. Yeah, I mean, let's do a breakdown then of the actual timetable of yesterday, because it was all about how quickly and how efficiently the actual Expo Logic system was set up. At the end of the day, it's the same system that we have seen for the last 3 years and the rest. It is an efficient system which it works on a random waiting room selection. Everyone is sent a registration code and also sent a unique URL to click on. Unique, it depends on if anyone wants to share that around, but that link basically took you to the waiting room, which was opened 1 hour before the actual badge sale took place at 10 a.m. yesterday. And so for a full night, 60 minutes, everyone was kind of sat there in a very a very communal fashion. Hi there, how are you?
Hello. Okay, so I'm a mess. So I
I
haven't
can
gotten up
imagine.
quite yet this morning, but
Fair
I thought I'd
enough.
at least join for just a minute and
No worries.
tell you
Well,
our horrible
your
experiences.
issues. Yeah. Well, tell you what, I'll quickly run down then the actual timetable there. I'll finish off this then. So Expo waiting room opened up at 8 a.m. sorry. So it was the 9 a.m. when the actual badge sale took place. A couple of issues which I did see. I know that the unofficial blog has done their recap of the badge sale, saying that they felt that there were less issues than usual. I would kind of take issue with that purely because at the end of the day, San Diego Comic Con put a post up saying that there were issues with the actual badge buying process. It was something that was recognized. That's not something that you would just put up if it was something that was something or nothing. So that was something I felt was a bit weird. I got accepted into, or at least the person that was buying my badges as part of our badge team got accepted into the waiting room or into the badge buying process at minute 16. But we were seeing people that were being acknowledged as in the badge buying process and getting badges at minute 10. So they were moving very efficiently through the actual process. Let's see what we've got here then. So the timing was, we have ourselves 28 minutes into the process, preview night sold out. The actual timings that are being posted by the unofficial blog are the same timings that I spotted as well. I took screen caps of what the times were happening. So yeah, 28 minutes for preview night. We had ourselves do apologize, hang on a second. Right, so we had Saturday running low at minute 37, selling out on Friday badges for at 47 minutes past the hour, and then Thursday sold out at 66 minutes past the hour, with Sunday still available, and all the badges sold out, done and dusted at minute 72. At 12 minutes past 9. So it was the timings were very similar to 2017 for 2018 San Diego Comic Con. So like I say, the timings were very much what we had expected. But like I say, the issues that we didn't see, or the issues that we did see, certainly for myself, was something where I did in fact get into a badge buying process some way down the line around minute 40, at which point I was going to buy for somebody else in our badge team. It asked me to select how many badges I wanted, which was 3, at which point I then went in and there were the actual 3 badge slots that were available. But when I got to the third attendee that wanted to have their badges bought, it said that I had maxed out the amount of badges that I could buy, the amount of attendees that I'd selected for. That was disheartening. And not only that, but slightly unusual, considering at the end of the day, there were 3 slots available. Like I say, Expo Logic have indeed put something up along the lines that there were technical issues. And as we have always advised, if there are anything that you are unsure about, or if there's any issues that you come up with, screen cap to death. Make sure that that is an available option to you, to just screen cap as much as you possibly can. So yeah, it's something that we're going to keep an eye on, certainly with the letting San Diego Comic Con know about this issue in my particular example, and we'll find out exactly what the process is, how fast they respond, and indeed what their reaction is going to be to the screen caps that we send in. But Leanne, you had yourself a merry old day. If you want to, as always, if you want to explain what happened to you yesterday.
Well, we waited and waited and waited nothing. We got nothing with 2 registration codes, 3 computers working, or 2 computers working. We got in. We didn't get in at all. And very last minute, Chuck Cook was kind enough to get my daughter in to get her Sunday and Thursday badge, because they'd had one something open at the last minute in their badge group. So they were able to get her. So she has the Sunday, Thursday, which I had already, but at that point I'd already had Sunday, Thursday. So there's no point in me getting that. So
fair enough.
Yeah, it was.
Were you part of a badge team, or was it just you two?
It was just the 2 of us. The problem was we had signed up for a badge team with the forum, and it was a lot of new people that I didn't know, and with a lot of just one posts, and I was a little leery about it. And then if I would have had to come up and buy 3 adult badges, and then having to pay that person back for my own and Taylor's badge, I was afraid that would put me over my credit limit. So at the very last minute, I backed out because I was a little worried about that, and I wish I wouldn't have, because they all got badges.
It's a tough thing, isn't it? I mean, I know that at the end of the day, when you do sign up for the forum, this is the Friends of Comic Con forum, of course. At the end of the day, your details to some degree are logged. You've got the IP addresses that are logged by admins, so people kind of know who people are. But like you say, it's that uncertainty, so you don't want to make that risk. And I totally understand that, especially when it is trusting somebody else with your cards, or trusting somebody else with payments. And yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's
coming up with the $900 to cover 3 other adult badges, and then the other 300 and something to pay back for mine and her badge at the same time. I was a little worried it would put me right over my credit limit, especially since I'm just trying to catch up from everything that's happened over the last summer. So,
Indeed.
I didn't want to put somebody else's badges at risk. Yeah.
Sure. Well, were there any technical issues at all, or was it simply a case of being shut out?
Simply a case of being shut out. Yeah, just simply a case of being shut out.
It's something that we talk about a lot, because we are talking about an event which has 1.5 million fans on Facebook. It's a massive amount of interest in the event. It's going to be tough, and not everyone is going to get over the line. It's really hard, and I'm sorry for the fact that you've not been able to make it this time round. I know that you're going to be applying as press for a couple of outlets, so fingers crossed that all happens for you.
We have that, though, and then Dan's helping me on another front to see if we can get something going there. I think I'll have to be returning the Sunday, Thursday badge, which I have, which is fine, and I may not be able to get pre-reg next year, but that's okay. I could live with that. We're also supposed to be volunteering. We had planned on volunteering because I was trying to get Taylor in for volunteering for a couple of years, and we had just missed it every time. So now that she's an adult.
Has this experience kind of taken a bit of the shine of Comic Con off you, for you, do you think?
I think it's just a whole bunch of other things this year. It's just like another domino in the, it's like, oh yeah. And then on top of that, I have to have surgery on Wednesday. So,
Good Lord.
Like,
2018 the end of it can't come soon enough for you, basically.
Yeah, we need to have this year be over soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm done
No, I can appreciate that. I mean, obviously, Taylor is it the first time she's attending as well?
No, she goes every year. She's been every year with me, but she's been this will be her last year as a junior. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm going to very quickly check because I did a hold up. I don't know if anyone saw this, and it will have. It's either finishing or coming close to finishing, which was a post that I put up, which was a poll to see how well everyone did yesterday. And by all means, do jump in on the chat box. Let us know how you did. We've had one or two people sharing their stories already. But I just want to find this the poll, which I thought I'd bookmarked, but clearly I haven't. So bear with me while I find this. It was a poll which I thought was very interesting in its results because it talked about, I'd split it down into 4-day and 3-day, 2-day and 1-day, and so 4-day and preview night, 4-day and 3-day, 2-day and 1-day, and then nothing at the bottom. And I was interested to see that it was actually across the board. It was pretty evenly split, to be fair. It was. Yeah, it was an interesting result. So let me see if I can find that. But in the meantime, here we are, 178 votes. Not a massive amount I can appreciate, but let's look at the results. So 26% getting 4-day in preview, which is pretty impressive. 25% with 4-day and 3-day, 17% with 2-day and 1-day, and 32% getting nothing, which I actually expected to be a little bit higher. But then again, people who are following the Englishman in San Diego Twitter, they are people that go on a regular basis. It's not necessarily first timers. So it's a case of understanding who's actually reading the Twitter account. But still, 26% getting, well, a quarter getting 4-day and preview, a quarter again for 4-day and 3-day, 17% and 32%. So half getting 2-day, 1-day, or nothing. So that's looking at Thursdays and Sundays, really. And that's a tough break, but it is the amount. It does demonstrate the amount of people that are going in for the badges, and it's very tough indeed. I mean, let's try and think positive. Let's hope that yeah, you can kind of either get in via press or via the other alternatives that you talked about. I mean, it would. I'm guessing Taylor would be going regardless. Would she?
Yeah. Well, like I said, she's already got the Sunday, Thursday. I have the Sunday, Thursday, anyways. But hopefully we'll be able to turn those back in, and I'll turn it over to one of these other options. And if not, I've got volunteer status this year. We had planned on volunteering no matter what. At least a pre-con shift. If not, we can always volunteer on one of the other days.
There's always
we were planning
options.
on giving back this year anyways. We've been trying to for the last couple of years. So there's lots of different ways.
Absolutely. What have you got so like in mind? Is there anything that you can kind of anticipate from next year's show that you'd be interested in keeping an eye out on? Any shows, any returning companies that are possibly pitching a tent?
Well, I am hopefully will be in for that Marvel one this year. Let's see what the next round is going to be coming from Marvel. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is what they're going to, their future cast. I have a feeling they're going to unveil all that stuff this year. It's the 50th. Why not? Let's see what they're going to bring for their next 10 years, what their plans are, because they plan so far in ahead. I really want to see, and I'd also like to see if DC is going to pull up behind them and say, hey, we're here. I don't know.
Well, I think that's everyone's kind of waiting on
wishful thinking, but
I think that may be a little bit of wishful thinking. I think everyone at this point is waiting on Aquaman to see how that if it sticks to the landing or not. So fingers crossed on that one. Let's quickly go through a couple of the chats. Let's have a look on this. Super Cat Chick, I'm so nervous about joining a badge buying group next year. I'm going to try and get one with people I know. Yeah, this is the same anticipation that you had. Super Cat Chick, I struck out in pre-reg and got Thursday and Sunday in open, so I'm just happy I'm still coming. My two friends, oh, this is Andrew English, my two friends who have never been but can't go as they just had a baby, got in, but my ID didn't. So feels like first timers had it better than the random than regulars. Interesting thought on that one. I mean, I had one or two people sort of messaging me yesterday with the classic conspiracy theory that CCI actually skew international attendees or out of towners to increase the people coming into San Diego, the tourist factor. At which point I just thought to myself, that might just be a little bit too tin foil hat for my liking.
It's an almost impossible thing for them to do. I mean, I can't imagine the computing power that it would take to shut down IPs in just one certain area. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's a bit it's a bit much, isn't it? We've got ourselves yeah, this is someone else that said this about preview night. Andrew English, I didn't bother with preview nights. Super Cat Chick, Andrew, I never go for preview nights. I'm holding out hope that HopCon returns to Wednesday this year. Yeah, I can understand that as well. And I know that Dan Berry, yeah, well, yeah, and I know that Caroline, my other half, she hasn't gotten preview nights, and also Dan Berry hasn't gotten preview nights. Is it preview night? No, it might have been Ian O'Hara that didn't get preview night. At which point I turn around and say, quite frankly, now that we have the new exclusives portal on CCI on the website, the actual need to kind of do that whole preview night scrum isn't actually necessary anymore. The only two necessities if you are wanting to do needing to do preview night: number one, you are a WB fanatic and you need to see those previews. Okay, more power to you. Knock yourself out. We've got, I mean, that's one. The other one as well is if you are indeed a first timer, if you are going for the first time and you need to get your bearings, if you need to get a sense of geography, if you need to get a sense of scale and where everything is on a relatively quieter day.
Yes,
that is possibly
that's a good thing to use preview night for. I mean, we do it for just shopping so we can get our shopping out of the way. You know, that way we're not bogged down with trying to pick up items that are not on the portal. You know, try to get all that stuff done so we're not running around between panels. But
Graham's
great for first timers.
Yeah. Graham Small saying, my son loves preview night. He loves looking around the hall for bargains and exclusives. They are Scottish. They know how to be frugal. They know how to watch their money. And no, I totally understand that. To be fair, actually, I found this year, because I did go into, I got preview night, or I was there on the floor for preview night, and also for Thursday as well. I think everyone who actually got on the floor that first couple of hours just to kind of wander around, you were just wandering around. It was so weird. It was so calm and stress-free and quiet.
Yeah,
everyone was just, the volume was down. It was almost like there was all that anticipation that you would usually get from people who had been camping out for 12, 13 hours to dive to the Hasbro booth, to dive for Funko. All of that was just gone because it was just calmed down. It was just nice. And I seem to remember, I mean, I think I've mentioned this on another podcast where I bumped into the chairman of the committee for the convention center. He was taking some friends round on that first hour or so. The doors literally been open for an hour. bumped into to Gil on the floor of the convention center, and we just looked at each other and went, "This is weird." It's just so quiet.
Yeah.
Oh no, this was on Thursday morning. This was Thursday morning.
Oh, Thursday morning. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And then of course you get into Saturday, and all that gets into that whole vibe of nonsense. So there we go.
Karen Sessions just said one person in her buying group got in 6 times and bought badges for 17 people.
Good Lord. I'm trying to work out how. No, I know how that's possible, but wow. Okay. Wow. I mean, we've got Sarita P who's just put "wow" in capital letters, and I think that's an understatement of the year, and will be whoa. Karen Session, it was suggested he go to Vegas after Open Reg. I think that Powerballs, get on that. Yeah, absolutely. That's insane. Graham Small, there was one of our groups that did get in 4 or 5 times. It gives you a sense of the whole randomness of the whole thing. There are those moments where lightning strikes. It just really does happen.
Yeah,
okay,
we had that happen a couple years ago where both mine got in, and then we were able to get 3 badges for somebody else. Because both of them, but they went in like almost immediately. So yeah, I mean, that does happen, but it's just I can't believe it, one person 6 times. Whoa. Yeah.
Jason Kremen, between my wife and I, we got him 5 times. I mean, there's a couple of there's moments that it happened. I will talk about my experience. I don't know if I've mentioned this on air. I don't know if we were talking about this before I actually went live, but very quickly. I did actually get into the waiting room, like I say, around the 40-minute mark. At this point, Preview Night had gone, and also Saturday had gone. But we were wanting to buy badges for the other people that was in another badge group, because ours had been sorted. Buying for 3. Using my registration code to get in, at which point entered the first name and member ID of the other team and selected for 3 badges. At which point we then put the first 2 names in. They were accepted. At which point we then went for the 3rd name, and it said that I had maxed out the number of attendees I could apply for. Like I say, I'd asked for 3. It provided slots for 3, and yet wouldn't allow me to put that 3rd name in. Like I say, of screen caps left, right, and center. So we'll be sending all of this into CCI, but it does give some sense that there were a couple of issues when it comes to filling out that form, that badge buying process form. There were some issues.
It's like the validation for my daughter's badge during pre-reg. I mean, that was it validated, and then it was on the next screen, and then when at the finish line it wasn't there, so
what was also rather frustrating as well, that when we said, okay, fine, we'll just get the 2 and we'll come back, on the final page it showed on the invoice, as it were, of the actual process, the 2 people that I bought badges for, the 3rd person with an empty row, and then the final price for the first 2 people. And when people went back in to buy for this 3rd person, it said that they had already been bought, or they'd already gone through the badge buying process, so they were locked out. Yes, safe to say CCI will be getting a whole bunch of screen caps and emails through in the next day or so, but I can imagine it's not the only person, because I have been seeing that happening on a number of posts.
Yeah, because they mentioned that on Twitter, right? Comic Con themselves mentioned that on Twitter about the cart having issues, so they know something happened there at the end.
Yeah,
they should honor those. I have a feeling, because if you have his name, because on mine with hers on pre-reg, her name didn't pop up on that very last screen. It had only been on the previous screens, which I failed to take a screenshot of.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of people who had a couple of issues, and they didn't screen cap because they were panicking. It's one of my top 10 tips, people. It's 15 minutes. Calm down and take screen caps if things go wrong. Yeah, this was let's just check on the time when they actually posted that. This was at 10 minutes past, or nearly 10 minutes past 10. So nearly 70 minutes into the badge buying process. Due to Expo Logic's shopping cart feature, a few people may be selected for a registration session and find that badge inventory is unavailable. We apologize for the inconvenience. This is not an error. All badges are in other members' carts. Okay, that's pretty much not what they say in their documentation.
Right.
That's a bit weird. So no, like I say, yeah, we are going to have to get that all sent in. Right. Who else we've got in? Wagman Studios. I got this year, first time, so excited. Tell you what, I'm going to post that link again. Do you want to join us online, sir? Because I want to talk to first timers. I want to kind of like get a sense of what people can expect from San Diego Comic Con 50.
Yeah, come join us. I promise I won't bite.
Which we are going to have to get used to, because I think that's another thing that kind of demonstrated just how popular the badge sale was yesterday. Like I say, the timings were similar, but they were slightly shorter, purely because of just how excited people are for the 50th anniversary of San Diego Comic Con. It's a big deal. Not only are we going to be getting a whole bunch of celebrationary panels, which I know I'm a Comic Con nerd, but I think I'll be in the room for a couple of those. So
yes, I'll be right there behind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I mean, as part of the new site, I'm actually wanting to do like an archive section and do a couple of articles on the history of Comic Con. I'm going to say it one more time, because if you get the chance, I've stayed there for the last couple of years. I don't think we're going to get the chance to stay there in 2019, but if we do, it'd be great. If you get the chance to make the bit of a walk up the hill to the El Cortez Hotel, or the condo apartments, admittedly, you won't be able to get let in because it is now an apartment block, which is privately owned. But you'll certainly be able to look through the doors and look through the sort of like the windows and stuff, and get a chance to have a look at the building. This is where in 1970, it's where it all started, and wow. It's just a gorgeous building. It's been renovated very, very well by the person that is now owns it. Apparently, was in a bit of a state of disrepair even when the convention set up shop there. And it's always cool for me to go and look at it, if anything, because if you go into the main lobby and get to the end and you head to where the stairs and the elevators are on the right hand side, there's a glass cabinet with a flyer for the 1972 show.
That's so cool.
It's art by Scott Shaw. So it's a cartoon flyer with almost like a mini comic on it, saying legends of the comic industry, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and it's just a roster of all these names. And then you take a 5-foot step to the left, sorry, and look at the size of the ballroom, which you could throw a paper airplane and it would bounce off at least 4 walls before it landed. It's so small. And wow. Then you turn and you go, they were all there in this one room. And apparently Jack Kirby was never in that room because he was always at the pool. I love this history stuff.
That's so great. I love it.
The evolution from that to what we have today is just incredible. The link says coming up error. If you may need to restart Chrome, or you may have to go in via the app. I'd like to see if we can get you on. Let's have a look. Sumo. is having the 15 minutes to purchase somewhat new. Can't seem to remember how long it was for the other years. If new, then did that affect how long badge buying took yesterday? Seemed to take longer yesterday overall. No, the 15 minutes has been in place now for about 3-4 years. It's something which certainly when it was introduced, people ignored because people were, crap, we need to get these sorted out. They would to get that mentality of, number one, deprogramming your brain to not hit the F5 button to refresh your browser. That was always a tough one. And then also to just realize you had 15 minutes to do the process, to just stop, breathe. What was available when you entered the session was locked and ready, even though we have now been told that may not necessarily have been the case. I think people need that time to just kind of
to calm down, because your heart's racing at that point. So that at least since 2014 they've had that. I'm trying to remember before that what it was, or maybe 2013, maybe it might have been the year, but I know from 14 on it's been for sure in there, that 15 minutes.
Okay, right. So let's dive in and talk about what we can expect from the 50th anniversary from next year, especially if you are attending as a noob, as somebody who's never been to San Diego Comic Con before. If you've been to any of the conventions, if you've been to New York, if you've been to Emerald City, if you've been to a Wizard World, if you've been to any of the convention, nothing compares to this thing.
Gird at the end of the day, it is nothing.
It's a beast. It is a beast. It's interesting that people kind of hear the numbers and they hear about the amount of people that are going and attend San Diego Comic Con, and then I turn around and say that is true, but it doesn't necessarily have to feel like those hundreds of thousands of people in that area, purely because San Diego Comic Con is spread out over such a huge footprint. Yes, the walkway in front of the convention center has now been opened, and that it was
it's so beautiful.
Telling you, it really was amazing to just have the ability to just walk relatively unimpeded. Admittedly, yes, Saturday and Friday was hard work. It was still very busy, but it's still easy enough to get from one side to the other of the convention center in relative calm.
Yes.
That
was the best thing they have done in a long time. Besides adding the nice comfy seats to Hall H, opening up that walkway, because I can just zoom right down the middle of the street now.
Yeah, although admittedly, I'll say that those comfy seats, and I know that Gil Cabrera sometimes jumps in and watches this hangout, like I say, the chairman of the committee for the convention center. It's great to have those nice comfy seats, yes, but they possibly are too comfy. If you've had a nice long night outside the convention center, outside in Hall H, you go sit in those seats, and it's very easy to just go and just you just go. Very good though. I'd like to see them expanded out to the rest of the halls and to the rest of the rooms in the convention center, but it is a massive investment. And I don't think that's the case.
They should at least do a few of the other Ballroom 20 and maybe one of the other couple, was it 6BCF or whatever the one is in the middle that's got, they have it's a huge room. They need to at least expand it to those two. That would be nice. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that I would like to see is they've put in this very impressive lighting system in the main convention exhibition hall, which now provides a very neutral light. If you have a look at the cosplay pictures taken on the floor for last year, you will see a massive difference. It's not as warm, it doesn't affect the cameras as much, and the pictures are very neutral in the way that they were taken. There's a very clean slate, as it were, for the lighting temperature. I would
Yes.
like that to be installed in Ballroom 20, Hall H, because any picture or video that was taken in Ballroom 20 came out as this pinkish red hue, which, and not only that, it was really hard to kind of focus because the lighting was kind of all over the place. Yeah, there's little things that they can still do, but still, absolutely, absolutely. Right, in terms of if you're going as a noob and you're not too sure what to expect in terms of content, the only thing, as always, that we can recommend is you can be completely overwhelmed because there is so much to see and do. But don't try and see everything. Absolutely, like Leanne says, you won't. You'll go for this first time and you will feel like you have barely scratched the surface. That's why we keep coming back. I guarantee that's part of the appeal, that we didn't see a thing. We're going to go back and try again.
You'll feel that way your first 2, at least the first 2 years, until you finally, get, just make sure you schedule. I mean, that's the big thing. It's what's most important, because you might go to a room and you can't get in. What is your next couple of things that you want to go see after that are just as important, because you got to, some of those rooms upstairs, sometimes you can't get in,
Yeah.
Especially if it's a big panel.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to type it out, but Wagman, you're watching and you're saying it's going to be your first time. What are you expecting from San Diego Comic Con? I mean, you've no doubt seen plenty of photos, you've seen plenty of video, but what are you expecting from San Diego and from the convention itself? Let's have a look at a couple of the comments that have come in. We've got Dan Berry. Do you think Disney properties will have a large presence with D23 taking place a few weeks after San Diego Comic Con? No. I think they will come back and rock it as usual because we've had San Diego D23 taking place the week before Comic-Con, and they still came into San Diego and gave it a big show. So
I think they're going to be huge this year. I really think that they are going to roll out that next 10 years, because they've been keeping real mum on what they're doing. I mean, there's little hints here and there, but I really think that they're going to roll it out at the 50th. That's
fair enough. I mean, Kevin Feige has always turned around and said that, I mean, they may downplay it or have been downplaying it over the last couple of years, perhaps, the importance of San Diego Comic-Con, but it's where they launched Iron Man. It's where it first made that impression. It's where Marvel Studios started. It's simple as that. It says a lot that on every single DVD release, they post San Diego Comic-Con footage. That's no accident.
Oh, yeah.
We've got ourselves Graham Small. I'm hoping we get Disney Plus presenting. Want to see the new show details? I think that's a given. They are spending way too much money and time and effort on this streaming service.
And bringing in some very big stars for TV shows. I mean, these are people who would not normally be on a TV show. So...
yeah, I mean, the whole that Loki series, yeah.
I mean, bring it on. I'm glad they're gonna have it, but I really think they're gonna really roll it out. I have a feeling there's probably gonna be something in your bag that's gonna give you like a month for free to try it out. Something they're gonna advertise big for that.
Yeah. Andrew Dickinson, won't that have launched by then? Yes, but you have a captive audience with money in their pocket, walking around, and lots of them, and all it takes is a person with a nice little 15% code off. And I mean, let's have a look at some of the launches that have taken place at San Diego Comic Con. Let's look at CBS All Access, which got something like, was it 2 months, 3 months free for the first 3? At which point it then rolled into Star Trek Discovery, and at the end of the day, they pinned an entire streaming service on one show, and it's done rather well for itself. Thank you very much indeed. Ian the Geek, Dark Crystal, good man. You read my thoughts, sir. Well done.
Yes,
please. Yeah, I mean,
I will watch the hell out of that.
I mean, we could. I mean, I think that's one thing that noobs really should work on as well. I mean, it is very easy to get distracted by the big rooms, the big show. So Disney, DC, Marvel in Hall H.
Enjoy the smaller panels. The best thing we ever did a few years ago was stop trying to do Hall H. Now, we did do Hall H a lot last year. I don't know how we got in so many times, but
it was easy on Thursday and Thursday and
Sunday. Walk out.
Yeah, walking.
In my case, roll in, roll out. But I mean, but really, those small panels where you're right there with the artists in front of you and them talking about. I mean, one of my favorite panels last year was one with Matt Taylor. It was just Matt Taylor and the guys from Mondo just talking. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm really hoping Revolution Studios brings something for Mega City 1, which is the new Judge Dredd series.
That would be great.
Come on. We've had 2 years now. Let's have that, please.
Yes, please.
So, I mean, there's that. I mean, we've got Aaron Neighbors, the quick draw. It's always a fun panel. I know for a fact that the sci-fi voting one with the signs, the great debates.
That is such a fun panel. That is a great
She will be super glued to that particular panel. She loves it, especially if Barrowman shows up, because it's always a fun show. So that's always a good one.
Are worth the price of admission right there, you know. He always came in that stunning little Captain America outfit, that little booty shorts this year. Perfect.
Yeah. For myself, I'm really hoping, like I say, for a number of retrospective panels on San Diego Comic Con and also on the people of San Diego Comic Con. For example, I'd like to see some panels on the early artists that really helped San Diego Comic Con become what it is. And of course, some of the people that have made the show what it is. Which, as we go into the final 10 minutes, I think we'll quickly bring this up. Well, we won't quickly bring this up. We'll spend some serious time on this because it is something that I think we need to celebrate, which is the life and work of John Rogers, who passed away yesterday. This is a bigger blow than I think people recognize, because he was voted in as chairman of the Comic-Con International in 1996, and has effectively steered Comic-Con International to become the show that it is right now.
Absolutely.
Without him, we wouldn't have the show that we have, and we wouldn't have the tone of the show that we have. One of the highlights for me was going to the Talkback panel. And I didn't just go to kind of record it for posterity to kind of get a sense of what people's thoughts were. It really was for John Rogers' personality up there behind the table. He was
quite shocked last year with the fact of really everything going off so well. And that's really touches my heart that at least that last one, it wasn't everybody bitching and moaning to him about, that just to know.
You're absolutely right.
That at least that last one, because I mean, he really did have that shocked look on his face, like, waiting for all the complaining, and it really wasn't. So that to know they did so well, at least.
Yeah.
And I really honestly had no idea it was sick. I mean,
no, there's several people that are saying that they didn't know he was ill. And so I can imagine this was very quick. It was something that developed very fast. But
glioblastoma it can be quick, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But John McCain died from that. So yeah, I know several people have had it. So
yeah. I mean, just to talk about a couple of my favorite memories. I mean, certainly one of them from the Talkback, which I can remember, which gives you a sense of when I knew I'd fell in love with the guy, which was just the moment when it was the year when they had announced that they were moving forward with the expansion, that they had agreed with what they were going to do, which was doing a hotel tax. This was about 2-3 years ago. This is when everyone was moving forward with an expansion. They had the plans, they had everything in place. Of course, obviously, then the lawyers piled in and everything got curtailed. But by the time the convention had rolled round, we were all looking at, in 2 years' time, that we would be queuing up for Hall H and Ballroom 20 around the bulldozers.
Yes.
At that point, everything was supposedly all ahead and all marches on. And people at the talkback were saying, so how's this going to work? How are we going to be lining up on Bayfront when we've got diggers in and whatever? And he just turned around and said, do you see a bulldozer out there? That was his entire response. Do you see a bulldozer out there? And I just went,
I know.
oh,
right?
I love you so much. The sense of humor was just so dry. Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. No word yet, obviously, as to who's going to succeed him. I think this passing also needs to be discussed in this regard, in that the people at the top tier of San Diego Comic Con have been in their positions for quite some time, around the time that John Rogers was actually assigned as the chairman, which makes me hope that we are seeing people rising through the ranks at CCI to continue the work, to not have an old guard growing older and being fixed in their ways. Let's have new blood being introduced, and I'm hoping that that's the case. It's great that we've got ourselves people like Andy, who's looking after the Comic Con Museum, who's a relatively young chap. Let's continue that stirring of the blood. Let's continue the evolution of Comic Con International, because otherwise then we are looking at a closed loop. We're looking at a fandom and a convention which will atrophy and collapse. If we see someone with new ideas coming forward, let's see what happens. And no doubt we will be getting an announcement in the next month, 2 months or so, of somebody who will be taking John's place. And from all of us on the Convention Collective and an Englishman in San Diego and on the Hangout, we pass on all of our condolences, our deepest sympathies to John's family and his friends. He defined Comic Con International for the new era, and that legacy will never be taken away from him, because the show that we have right now, that's down to his leadership. And it's 1986, I do apologize. 86 was when that took place. I knew it was, so yeah, I think that's where we'll kind of wrap things up. Thank you very much indeed for coming on, Leanne. I know that yesterday it was hard work, it was stressful. Fingers crossed that things can come out of this, and also, like you say, other solutions are coming down the pipe. You are attending as a volunteer, so you'll be seeing, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I did volunteer in years, for me, year 3 to 5. And considering that year 5 had me on stage introducing Jim Lee to a bunch of people, these things, yeah, they work. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the pair of you as mother and daughter, as a team. I think that's going to be always fun. So there we go. Where can where can people find you online if people want to continue to follow? Or
you can follow me at Little Red Ruby 74 on Twitter, and you can also find my articles on what to find at your local comic book shop on Wednesdays. So,
yes, there's a website called theconventioncollective.com. And there's a website area on that called Sandbox, which is curated by Dan Berry. And as part of that, there is Leanne's comic reviews. I know that you've been very busy over the last couple of weeks, but I know you're wanting to get back into putting those out regular.
Yes, I'm trying to work on the one for this week. I know I've had a couple issues. Unfortunately, I have to have my gallbladder out on Wednesday. Well, they went Thursday. I'm working on trying to get it out on Wednesday so it won't mess up Thanksgiving too much. But, you know, I'm hoping this is the last of the crap for 2018 and I can get back to doing what I love to do, which I haven't even been to the comic book shop for 2 weeks. So
get out of the way. Well, considering that I have been forwarding you as many of the previews that I can, so there's digital issues in your inbox at least.
Yep.
Brilliant. So thank you very much indeed for joining us, Leanne. And to wrap things up,
appreciate it.
No worries. And to wrap things up, Super Catchick has reminded me that it's not just here in the UK where we are celebrating Remembrance Day. We are also celebrating Veterans Day in the US. Super Catchick puts it succinctly, which is Happy Veterans Day to all here who have served. Here in the UK, it's Remembrance Day, and it is also the 100th anniversary of the Armistice Day, the ending of World War I. Here in the UK, Remembrance Day is a very sacred day. It's not a national holiday because it is run on the second weekend in November, but it's a day when we come together as a nation to not only celebrate the sacrifice of the people who have served in the armed forces, not just of conflicts past, but also those people who are with us today who have sacrificed so much, who have been injured, who fought in the conflicts over the years, and are still fighting for our freedoms now. I took part in the Remembrance Day service here in the UK at my local service here in Cleckheaton. And even though it was raining, it was grey and it was cold, we came together and we honoured and we remembered. And they will not be forgotten. We must never forget. In 2018, without any reservation, now is the time to never forget them and never forget why they fought, because it's important today to know why they fought. So they will not be forgotten. We should not be they should not be forgotten, and they will not be forgotten. Quick reminder about in the UK, there is a showing on BBC Two in about an hour and a half's time of Peter Jackson's film, They Shall Not Sleep, which is the film where Peter Jackson was approached by a National Archive with a number of wartime footage of World War I, where they, I think they just expected him to just clean it up and run it through Weta's computers, at which point Weta's computers went, right, let's have a real go at this. They have made this footage come alive for 2018. If you are watching BBC Two at 9:30 tonight, I would really check it out if you can. So there we go. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. My name's been Leonard. You can find me at Twitter on Englishman SDCC. You can follow my work at theconventioncollective.com/an Englishman in San Diego. I'm posting bits and pieces the best I can, and we are updating the site as best we can as well. You can follow the Convention Collective at the Con Collective minus the I on Twitter. And yeah, I will always take any kind of donations and support off you if you head to patreon.com/Englishman SDCC. If you've been following for the last 2 weeks, you've been able to look at the Frank Miller VIP Q&A panels that I posted directly after MCM London Comic Con. I'm going to be making those public on Thursday. If you want to watch them now, become a supporter. It only takes $1. Any kind of donation would be great, and you can watch me make a bit of an arse in front of myself in front of Frank Miller, which was entertaining, considering that he was stood 2 foot away and my brain just went So yeah, you can watch that. It's on the Patreon page, but I'll be making it public on Thursday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Leanne, it's been a pleasure.
Always. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And we'll be back next Sunday. We are hopefully going to be having a live report from Designer Con. It's the return of Alyssa. So fingers crossed we'll be having her joining us. And hopefully Dan might be floating around as well. That's Designer Con taking place next week. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Remembrance Day. And we will see you soon. Take care.